Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of TwstNotes, where I summarize the latest story update in JP. We're on chapter 10 of book 7, and y'all, I'm tired. This book is so long. I don't know if you guys can feel how long this chapter has been with the summary since I'm not covering everything, but it feels long. It feels really, really long. I don't really have a segue, so let's just talk about book 7, chapters 158 through 191. Sebek, Silver, Yu, Grimm, the Shroud Brothers, and Jamil land in Floyd's dream. They land on water and Jamil makes a boat for them made of ice. As they're trying to figure out what's going on, something rams into their boat and they're sent into the water. Idia, who figured they'd be going underwater at some point, prepared these things called air domes. He explains they're like a whole bunch of tiny robots. It doesn't really matter, except you need to know that they look like bubbles. They're spherical. It turns out the thing that rammed their boat is Floyd, who was hoping it would be something interesting. Even though this is his dream, he's having a bad time. He's bored and returned to the ocean by himself after a load of great experiences on land, but he's feeling empty because no matter what, things go his way. After assumedly graduating, it wasn't really made clear. He went to the Shaftlands and got invited to be a model for, a brand, but he declined because it meant he could only wear one brand's clothes. Then he got offered a promotion from a lower-level cook to sous chef at a famous restaurant in the Sunshine Lands. He didn't want to follow recipes, and he just wanted to cook whatever he felt like, so he left. He then went to the Scalding Sands and found the fucking lamp from Aladdin, the lamp, while exploring the desert. He released the genie, which is more implied to be Jafar because he says it's red and not blue. He wishes for, a drinky drink, milk and lemon gelato, and the best street food in the Scalding Sands, which honestly, I can't blame him. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a little, girl. And everyone else is girl. But, anyways, everything's been going right for him, but it's left him bored because there's no spontaneity, and he's just listing through the ocean bored and not doing well when we meet him. Jade and Azul are on land. They're still managing the now several locations in the Mostra Lounge. The others try to figure out what's happening. It doesn't take them long to figure out that although Malleus's dreams eliminate sadness and bad stuff for the most part, because someone like Floyd loves challenges and randomness, it actually creates a meh environment. Silver is honest with Floyd and tells him he's in a dream, and a short version of what's happened. Floyd thinks they're trying to scam him, which honestly, big fair. Jamil has to step in and starts talking about the past. We actually get more details about what happened with Floyd at their new student orientation. He apparently grabbed Riddle's hair and was like, "Oh, that's weird, it's red but it's not hot." And Riddle, rightfully pissed, set Floyd on fire and also launched him across the room. Jade just laughed at the situation, and Azul pretended to not know the either of them. This memory makes Floyd laugh, and it's the first time we see him smile this chapter. He starts waking this up, so the others continue. Idia talks about a joint magical offense class or something they had together. Floyd kept challenging people, and he got defeated by Kate, Malleus, and Leona. Jamil goes on to talk about how he and Floyd, sports argue during basketball practice? I don't know. I don't go to basketball, so I don't know the term, but it's called power play. Anyways, Jamil and Floyd low-key butt heads or something like that. I think Jamil says, Floyd can't beat his power play or something. I don't know. I don't care enough about basketball to look it up. Also, Floyd apparently snuck into the gym one time to practice dunking and broke both of the baskets and the backing board thing and had to clean the gym for a week as punishment. Grimm brings up the events of Book 3, and Floyd, not accepting he got beat by some, quote, shrimps, accidentally attracts the darkness. It creates Jade and Azul who are like, "Those people are liars, we'll have fun together forever." Floyd calls them out on their lies and realizes that's not the real Jade and Azul. The team fights the darkness, they win, and Ordo does the stupid video explanation thing. I will forever be bitter about that. I will forever be bitter about getting demonetized and having to redo that entire video. Fuck you, Aniplex. Floyd is utterly thrilled this is a dream and he has control over where they are. He starts teleporting them all over NRC and then back to the ocean. Idia is like, "Stop acting like you know you're dreaming or Malleus will come." Floyd does tease them about purposely drawing Malleus out, but he chills out. He joins the squad and Idia gives him the dream form change thing so he can be human. Ordo gives Floyd the letter and creates the dummy data for him before they head into Jade's dream. They end up by some undersea volcano surrounded by thermal vents. I think that's what they're called. It's a super active area, so Floyd saves their skin from getting burned by the hot water, and Idia tells them that although the air domes will provide some protection, they're not foolproof, so they need to be cautious. Especially since it's not heat they just have to worry about. Underwater eruptions like this also contain harmful stuff to humans, so it's not a great situation. It's even bothering Floyd, it's just not good for them to be there. They decide to search for Jade, and Floyd lights up, like, the Main Street electrical parade. He explains counter-illumination to them, which is when, like, deep-sea creatures have some light to trick other creatures so they aren't targets for stuff. Again, I don't know. It basically, like, helps camouflage them and also provides some light to the others since it's kind of dark down there. I think the theory is, like, if you look up and something is, like, illuminated, you think it's just the sunlight coming through the water and not, like, oh, there's food. I think that's it. Honestly, I don't know. Anyway, it's dark down there. They find Jade and Azul are searching for gold in the geothermal vents and stuff. They find gold in a vent, and Azul freezes it to try and pick up the gold, but the hot water breaks through the ice and sends him flying. So, like, the joke on Twitter is that they yowie-fied Azul's face, which is a fair assessment, but low-key, it's like giving the same cursed vibes as Handsome Squidward. There's also an alternate version of Floyd whose face, dare I say it, is giving a 4-year-old drawing Osomatsu-san fan art. This Azul is a huge crybaby, and that Floyd is very, very childlike. Floyd naturally does not like this at all. Ordo points out impressions will affect things in dreams, and Floyd is like, Jade thinks I look this clueless? Back over to Jade. He reveals he's climbed every mountain on Earth, so now he's exploring ocean ones. He wants his fake Azul and Floyd to stay with him forever, and this is Floyd's last straw, like the real one. He attacks them, shocking Jade that there's 2 Floyds. The others are like, should we help? And Jamila's like, there's still evil Octave and L students, and we're underwater. We have to wait. Honestly, I think it would have been funnier if he just said no. Floyd calls Jade out, but the darkness fakes convince Jade that he's a liar. The Azul is like, that Floyd is fake, ours is real, just look at that adorable smile. Jade agrees, noting that the 2 are so incompetent without him that they'd never get anything done if it weren't for him. And Loki kind of implies they're kind of worthless on their own. He starts falling deeper into sleep, but Floyd attacks him again. The twills fight while the darkness cowers away from the fight. It's a very vicious fight. It's really vicious. They're like hissing at each other. It is crazy. The fight is breaking those thermal vents and making the area more and more dangerous for the others. Sebek decides to use his unique Maho to tase the twins, which works. They stop fighting because they got tased, and Jade realizes the Azul and Floyd that had been with him are fakes. He wakes up and now they all fight the darkness together. After obviously winning the fight, the others get Jade caught up to speed, give him that letter in dream form change, and they head to Azul's dream. They're still in the ocean, which surprises Jade and Floyd, because they assumed Azul would be dreaming about being on land still and being like a mega rich successful businessman. But no, they're in their hometown. The gang hears cheers and goes to investigate. There's a game of Coral Rush going on between 2 high school teams. It's a game that originated from the Coral Sea, and it's just underwater spell drive. Or I guess spell drive is on land Coral Rush. Like, players ride dolphins instead of brooms, which feels weird, like, why have a dolphin mount in the first place? Like, it's magically controlling a ball and stuff, so yeah, like, it's underwater spell drive, but I'm like, why not just swim? I don't get it. There's a cheer team, which are literally the worst cheerleaders I have heard in my life. Like, this is such a huge pet peeve of mine when things get cheerleading wrong. Well, yeah, this isn't the worst depiction I've seen. They're still wrong about, like, everything, basically. The cheerleaders are singing the cheer, which is literally rule number 1 in cheerleading, that you do not sing the cheer. Like, this is how they sound.
Go, go, let's go! Tsu-yoi-zo, Azul!
This is completely wrong. Like, in cheerleading, you do not sing. You have to be super staccato with everything. Like, yeah, I've had cheers that have been hard not to do sing-songy, but skill issue. The correct way to do this would be, go, go, let's go, tsu-yoi-zo, Azul. Like, the tempo is also off, but I'm not gonna ding them on that, because, like, it makes more sense in Japanese, because they're like, Azul, like, you guys could hear that. And also, making up cheers can be hard. I've never been good at that. Also, you would never have a cheer for a specific person on the team in any sport. If you have a cousin or sibling or partner on the team, if you want to cheer them on and yell, like, go whoever, when you're not doing, like, an official cheer, that's totally fine. Cheerleaders don't spend the entire time doing cheers. We actually watch the game quite a bit, because otherwise, how are we gonna know whether or not to start a defense or offense cheer? A lot of girls on the team were football fans. I never got that, so, like, they definitely wanted to be watching the game, too. I was there because cheerleading is fun. I don't give a shit about football or basketball or other sports. I hated my high school. I love cheerleading and cheerleading alone, and it should legally be considered a sport. Fuck you, Coach Taylor, who said cheer should never be considered a sport, even though we work just as hard as other athletes, because then we can't do the cool stuff. Like, wow, what a disregard for our safety. Also, she had us doing illegal stunts, so... But yeah, like, I get this is a dream, so it doesn't have to be accurate, but it just really annoys me whenever I see inaccurate depictions of cheerleading in media. But at least they weren't sexualized at all, so I guess that's a win, as sad as that is. I mean, they didn't even have sprites, but like, it's sad that like, oh, that's a win! It's like, oh, that should not be considered a win. Anyways, the gang realizes Azul is on one of the Coral Rush teams, and Idia is like, Azul, are you fucking serious? Azul wins the game for his team, the Golden Tridents, and the crowd goes wild. Which also, I find that extremely weird. Like, I feel like Spell Drive and Coral Rush are, like, very much like football, and, like, when you're in a high school league, unless you're in, like... Well, I mean, I can't really speak for football. I know for cheer, if you weren't in a team affiliated with a high school, you did have more leeway on what you could call your team. But if you're, like, on a high school team, you're just gonna be called, like... the school or town or whatever, and then that, like, not to shade Cabrillo, but, one of the schools that I went to cheer camp with was Cabrillo, and they were the Cabrillo Conks, like, the Conquerors, which is, oof, kind of a mascot, but like, they were the Cabrillo Conquerors, because they were Cabrillo High School, and I'm like, what, so you guys are, like, the Golden High School? Like, I'm just like, really? Really that, or you just refer to it as the mascot? So well, I guess that maybe that's their mascot. Okay, question. Would it be weird to have a golden trident, like a weapon, as a mascot? Just in general, comment down below, because I'm like, well, maybe because now that I'm thinking, I'm like, well, maybe the golden trident is their mascot? So, actually, you know what, I will allow that, I still think it's kind of a weird mascot choice, but, you know, that's fair. After the game, they meet up with Azul, who acts very nice to the gang. He reveals he's team captain, because of course he is. Jade asks for his autograph and hands over Idia's tablet for him to sign, which Azul does, and honestly, I love Jade in this moment. Jade asks Azul if he remembers him and Floyd, and Azul does, although he mentions they weren't, like, close or anything. He invites everyone to his mom's restaurant, La Grata, for their victory feast. Honestly, this whole thing is giving stereotypical high school movie, and not even, like, a good one. I don't know, like, I don't expect Yana to know the ins and outs of high school football. I don't expect Yana Toboso to know the epic highs and lows of high school football. No, it's just something I have to kind of nitpick, because I spent, like, 3 years of my life, spending every Friday cheering. So I'm like, it is unfortunately, it is something that I am very well acquainted with. And I am, if nothing, a bitch. So, but anyways, the gang chats, and initially they think Azul's dream is having a past he doesn't want to erase, which, like, yeah, kind of, but, well, I have some doubts about that, or doubts about that being the singular reason. They try to think about how to wake him up and decide to go to the party. Idia has a bad feeling about it, but he ignores it. They show up and the mermaids are like, what are these humans doing here? They're not exactly welcoming, but Azul assures them that the gang are his guests. Azul says there's a dress code for humans specifically. He puts a sea anemone on their heads, and when Jamil asks about Jade and Floyd, who are in mermaid mode, by the way, he says it's for land dwellers only. This whole time, Silver is apologizing for, like, other people, and he's like, I'm so sorry, we did not mean to, like, insult your culture, we don't know, like, I am so sorry, like, duly noted, we won't do this again. And Azul was like, oh no, you didn't do anything, like, culturally weird, like, don't worry about it. But, you know, like, Jamil says that, and then Silver apologizes for him, and then Silver notices all of the mermaids are kind of, like, staring at them weird, and Silver's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry if we've done something wrong, and Azul's like, oh no, like, you're all good. But eventually, the other mermaids egg the humans into dancing, saying they want to see land dancing. Grim forces the freshmen to dance, and they kind of fall and land in a pile. Azul and the other mermaids start laughing at the freshmen, and Azul reveals he invited the group there solely to embarrass the humans in front of his friends. They all band together, like the mermaids, and say mermaids are the best and humans are losers. Azul then kicks the humans out of the party, but lets Jade and Floyd stay because they're mermaids. The other mermaids seem meh about this, so Azul follows it up by saying they can stay if they join the Coral Rush team and leave the humans behind. Through this whole thing, he clearly doesn't have an issue with the Tweels, nor does he, like, target them, but he's not neutral to them because they're old acquaintances. He's neutral to them because they're mermen. Through this whole thing, Jade and Floyd have been silently observing or making comments to themselves. They comment about how the decorations are tacky, and how the fried food presentation on vintage plates is ugly. They mention that Azul's mom would probably be mad at how ugly everything is, but when Azul offers for them to stay and join the team, the Tweels take up the offer. And by that, I mean, they start throwing the plates and Azul's mom's antiques around the restaurant and wrecking the place under the guise of playing around a Coral Rush. Azul threatens to sue them, and Jade and Floyd call him out on his bullshit. Floyd says something along the lines of, "Why are you acting like land dwellers are stupid and like you've never been on the surface before?" The other mermaids are still acting hostile toward the humans, even though all the humans are literally hiding behind Jamil's barrier he cast so the gang wouldn't get hurt during, like, the throwing porcelain and shit. And the mermaids are, like, coaxing Azul back to sleep. And then Azul does fall asleep again. After arguing with Jade and Floyd, who low-key want to leave Azul there because he, quote, chose to fall asleep, the gang goes after him. Also, the darkness can talk, like, it talks words. I don't think it's Malleus's voice, but when I looked in the credits section on JP, the darkness wasn't listed at all. There was nothing, so I don't know who voiced that. I don't think it's Kato Kazuki, but, like, I don't know. Anyway, the second dream is an alternate version of Book 3. Azul is successful at taking Ramshackle and keeps people as his servants. He burns that old elementary school picture and has Riddle and Leona's signature spells. The gang realizes if the contracts are destroyed, Azul can't use those spells anymore. But when they go to a safe and break in, the contracts are gone. Jade realizes he can't use his unique Maho on Azul or the fake Floyd since he's cast a spell on them before. Well, the real Floyd, but he figures it'll be the same thing. But he's never cast it on himself, so he might be able to get information from the fake Jade. The gang splits up into teams, with Jamil, Floyd, and Ordo in one team, and the rest of the gang in another. They both go and decide to take down the darkness versions of Jade and Floyd separately. Jamil goes to the Mostro Lounge and tells Floyd, the fake one, that there's a joint basketball practice between NRC and another school. He entices the fake Floyd to skip the rest of his shift by saying there's a merman player on the other team and he's really good, and Floyd takes the bait. The fake one. He leaves with Jamil, but when they get to the gym, there's only Ordo and the real Floyd waiting. They fight and destroy the dark version of Floyd. Meanwhile, the other team is being led by Jade to the alchemy workshop. There's a restricted section to it, so to speak, that houses extremely rare and valuable plants, but it's under strong magical protection. Jade asks Idia to analyze the spell and remove it, which he doesn't want to do, but it's not like he has a choice. They break in, and Jade starts breaking all the glass protection on a lot of different mushrooms to steal them. He's extremely happy getting to steal without the worry of being arrested. Like, he literally says, "Oh, normally I would get arrested for this, but I can't get arrested in a dream. I love this." And I'm like, oh my god, this is so chaotic. The others aren't so happy about this, though, and they tell him to knock it off before the darkness comes and attacks them. He does chill out a bit, but boy does he love stealing and taking things, just like the song from Futurama. As they leave, Jade asks Grim and Yu to go to the Mostro Lounge and try to sell the mushrooms. He's betting on the fake Jade getting excited about such rare mushrooms and can get tricked into leaving the lounge, which is exactly what happens. Azul, although skeptical at first about the mushrooms, quickly gets excited when fake Jade shows up and confirms the mushrooms are rare and very valuable. He asks to see where the two found them, and Azul lets him leave to secure the area, his words not mine. Grim and Yu lead the fake Jade into the forest where the others ambush him. He loses in the fight, and while being restrained by Silver and Sebek, Jade casts his unique Maho on the darkness version of himself and asks for the location of the contracts. The fake Jade tells him they're in a case in Azul's dorm room, and the others finish him off. Everyone reconvenes at Azul's dorm room and they get the case. But unfortunately, there's loads of sophisticated protections on it, so not even Idia can get into it. But Floyd has a plan and the others agree to go along with it. Jade and Floyd confront Azul with a case, and Azul is like, why do you have my case? He's worried about someone stealing it, and Jade plays along with this to ramp up Azul's paranoia. But when Azul asks for the case, Jade reminds him that the contract was destroyed ages ago. Azul starts kind of remembering, and he starts losing it a bit, seeing this is like the Twils betraying him, because like they're both playing into the whole like, oh, people are out to get the contracts, you know, that sort of thing. And a huge fight breaks out between Azul, the Twils, the rest of the gang, and Azul's army of darkness NPCs. Floyd throws the case to Yu while Azul is distracted. Eventually, Azul uses King's Roar on Floyd, who deflects the spell towards Yu. They use that magic to destroy the case and the contracts within it. This triggers Azul into remembering what happened in Book 3, and he wakes up. But because he's awake now and can't have a happy ending, the dream is collapsing. We've done this before. He gets pulled into the darkness, he finds his overblot self, he overblots himself, and then he fights the other overblot self a la Persona. I will say though, this fight is the least annoying out of all the overblot fights so far. I think Azul might have more line variety when it comes to his overblot lines, so it's not the same three things over and over and over again. Azul beats the overblot and wakes up in La Grata. The mermaids from earlier are trying to wake him up and tell him their team captain needs to make a speech. Azul does and then gives them a contract to sign. He says it's a fun little, I promise to do my best for the team sort of thing, and the others don't question it and sign. In actuality, the contract harvests their power and gives it to Azul. With the darkness mermaids being completely powerless, Azul banishes them. Everyone meets back up and they fill Azul in. He immediately starts panicking because it's been a few days and he thinks all the extra food he bought in case of an after party has gone bad. Ordo reassures him that time is frozen so people won't age and the food won't go bad. But Azul's still mad because he hasn't been able to update their website to reflect the closure, and others might see him as unreliable and not go to the lounge because of that. He's furious with Malleus because of this, and is like, we need to open the lounge ASAP. Yeah, that's Azul alright. They give him the invite for the final fight. Jade, Floyd, and Jamil will go back to their dreams since they've been through the ringer. Ordo checks in with our main gang and they assure him they're not injured and don't feel tired, which I feel is kind of strange. I don't know if that's foreshadowing something. Ordo leaves dummy data for Azul and he joins the gang. They head off to the next dream and that's where the update ends. I can't say that I liked this update if I'm being completely honest. I love Jade stealing mushrooms, that was great. And I'm glad the overblot fight wasn't an auditory nightmare like the previous ones. But I've never been a fan of Octavanel, so a lot of this was kind of a drag for me. Each section felt kind of long for what it was, and I understand that's obviously because Octa is like super popular in Japan, so they're gonna get special treatment. But the pacing felt really stretched out for what story there was there. Like, it takes 6 chapters to wake Floyd up, even though it's like not a lot of stuff going on. Whereas with Epple, it took only 3. So I'm just like, oh. Yeah, and also there was a lot to read. There's like a lot to read. I was honestly really struggling to get through this because of how long it was and frankly, how bored I was. I think the story itself is fine. There were some fun moments, but honestly, I just don't really like Octa much, so anything with them I'm just kind of meh about. And then the pacing was just not fantastic. Honestly, I think the pacing being bad kind of made it worse, so that's kind of my 2 cents on that. I'm excited for Savannah Claw next, though. Admittedly, I'm still worried about pacing because I'm worried they're going to do the bad pacing for Savannah Claw too, but I'm happy we're going to see Leona and Jack next. I do wonder who's going to get the special SSR card, though. I mean, I imagine for every new outfit we're going to get a new SSR eventually, but still, I wonder who will be next. Thank you everyone for watching, and a very special thank you to my channel members and Twitch subs. Your support helps me to continue to make these videos. If you'd like early access to my videos, consider becoming a channel member. Patrons and Ko-fi members can get my scripts early before I record them. I livestream over on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see y'all later.